Okay, we're here at Jack Astor's in Scarborough with friend of the program, Chris Boucher. Let's explain what we're doing here at Jack's for World Wish Day. You and Henry, a Make-A-Wish recipient and leukemia survivor, are hosting a live and interactive cooking session to raise money and awareness for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. My first question to you is, how would you rate your cooking skills?
I think I'm pretty good. My mom had a restaurant before, and I used to help her. I worked in a grill too, so it depends where they're trying to, bring the cooking to. But if it's anything like grill, pasta, whatever like that, I think I can make something out of that.
So you grew up in a kitchen?
No, my mom had a restaurant before, so I worked there. And,
okay.
My first job before I quit and dropped out of high school was a grill at St. Hubert. So I did do a lot of cooking.
That's crazy. I feel like most NBA players didn't have this kind of experience that you did. But I guess you're not like most NBA players.
I think everybody should learn how to cook, obviously. Even if you're in college, if it's not ramen noodles and whatever, I think you try to learn how to cook something.
Yeah, fair enough. I was going to ask you, if you had to make one dish for the whole team, what would you make?
I'll probably try to take my mom's shepherd pie recipe and try to do it. I think that's something that I like, so...
Yeah.
It's kind of, they got everything, you got corn, you got mashed potatoes, you got ground beef, I think cheese. I think that should be a good meal for the team.
All right. Is there one player on the team that you would not trust to cook for you guys? There might be more than one, I feel like.
Maybe right now, Ulrich. I think he's way too young for me to try anything he's cooking right now.
Yeah, he's we got to find more about Ulrich. The team doesn't really let us interview him or anything.
He's good though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool ass kid.
I want to find out more about Ulrich Shamshay moving forward. But, this is just one of the many things that has made you one of the 5 finalists for the NBA Social Justice Champion Award for this year. Honestly, this is just a brief rundown, but, you awarded scholarships with TMU through the Slim Dunk Foundation. You've done backpack giveaways, hospital visits, you run summer camps. You spend a lot of time dedicated to the foundation. I want to ask you, what is that desire within you to sort of give back, and sort of what's that fulfillment that you get when you do these type of events?
I think obviously when you look at my story and how it wasn't easy for me to make it to where I am right now, and I think the one thing that I could say is we want to make it easier for the kids my age, for the people that are the family that are dealing with difficulties that I had, and obviously with the way that the future is going and digital and Instagram, social media, I think that if we can show that the kids that got talent and kind of have programs for them to execute, it's just gonna be easier for them to have a way to the NBA or to college NCAAs, and I think for us to have like I said, my foundation to be able to kind of provide them a way of, of freedom. I think it's for parents to find, to give a scholarship to their kid. I think that's freedom. Obviously you probably have money and you think, okay, I could put that somewhere else because I know that's taken care of. I think that's helping a lot of kids, a lot of families. And when I was young, if I had that, I think that would have helped.
Right.
And a lot of kids that I have, a lot of friends that I had, that they probably were like, damn, if somebody did that before, that would have helped my kid, that would have helped my son or my daughter. So we're in a great position to do that, and I have a great team that are working extremely hard every day to figure out ways to help those kids and those families in need.
It must have been a lot for the NBA in particular to recognize, because you're one of 5 finalists for this award, and there's a lot of obviously athletes. I feel like the NBA is really proactive in terms of people wanting to get involved in the community, but it's got to mean a lot to you, especially being one of 5.
For sure. I think it shows the work. It shows the consistency. I think that we've been doing every year something for the community. We always try to find ways to get better. And I think that for my team, it means a lot because it shows all the work that they put in even during the season when I'm, trying to work for my next contract or trying to figure it out, how to get better and all. They're still working hard to help those communities, and I think that's something that I'm really grateful and blessed to have those people around. But to be finalists for that, I think that shows how much their work means something and how much the care that they have for the people, and it's been seen.
So I've interviewed you so many times, but I feel like one thing I never really asked you about was sort of like how you grew up and sort of your life experience. So I think a lot of people know you were born in St. Lucia and you came here when you were 8. You moved to Montreal. I remember, for a lot of Raptor fans, a lot of Canadian fans too, it's just like, this is a country of immigrants. You know what I mean? Like we all relate to that. Like when I came to Canada when I was 7, I remember like, you know, at that time you couldn't fly direct from Beijing to like Toronto. You had to stay over in Vancouver. So we landed in Vancouver. It was the first time I seen anybody that wasn't Chinese. Like I was like, oh wow, black people are here, white people are here, you know, brown people are here. Yeah. What was your first impression when you first came to Canada? Like what stands out from that experience?
I mean, obviously I think that we came like around my birthday, so it was January and that's snow time. So like
from the Caribbean.
The cold, that was one thing. But I think that the excitement of like seeing something different, a different perspective was kind of exciting. My mom never showed that, you know, she was not happy or whatever. So we always kind of like, you know, just enjoy the moment and enjoy the scenery. And I think that obviously we realized that it was more like, you know, socialized. It was more like, you know, more rules and like, you know, go to school, you have friends and book back. Like everything was kind of different, you know, like recess and all this stuff. It's just kind of a little different and I think that just the adjustment was kind of different, but I think if it was like that for me as a kid, which you're just a sponge kind of take it in, for an adult it's probably different. And I think that's something that we always think about with my foundation is like, how can we help the families?
Yes.
You got mom, you got dads that are like, they grown, they know what they've been in their life. They might have left the country for a better life, and how can we make it easier for them?
Right. I want to ask, because I didn't grow up in Montreal. What was Montreal North like?
Montreal, I mean, it's not one of the easiest places, especially Montreal North. I think it's most of the time when you move to Montreal, that's where you go. It's the cheapest rent.
Sure, yeah.
The first thing you want to find is a house, right? And I mean, those were the place where you could, you know, afford a house, even though you're not getting paid that much. So obviously the kids don't have much. Everybody know each other, but also it's by neighborhoods. And, you know, you're from that neighborhood, and I think that obviously Montreal don't have that much events. So when there was basketball events, all the hoods at one place, and that's when they were saying like, you know, it's kind of dangerous because obviously you grew up in a place where there's not a really system or great events or places where kids could just kind of learn what they're supposed to learn instead of how they grew up for wherever hood they are from.
There's so much I want to ask you. There's just really one thing too, is just people want to know, man, are you going to be back next season? What are your plans for the off season and beyond?
I mean, obviously I'm working extremely hard on, you know, the little stuff that I have to focus on. I think that one thing that I want to be able to is, you know, be consistent like I was this year. I think that's something that helped my game, that helped the team. I think that helped, you know, the people in the league to see what I'm able to do. And obviously there's a lot of things that, you know, it's not in my control. I think that I've proved a lot of things that I could do. I've heard Masai what he was saying at his interview and saying that, you know, team were calling for me and all, but I also heard that he said that, you know, he didn't like the fact that I was in that position and that I was a pro. And I think that, you know, it gives me all the confidence and the trust, because I always trust Masai, and I think that we got a good communication. And for what it is to me coming back or whatever, I don't feel like, you know, I'm in a worse place that I should be. I think the conversation will happen, and we'll see where it goes.
Well, I got to say, on behalf of all Raptor fans, you know, you feel like one of ours. This is the organization you spent the most time with, and we just hope it keeps going. But regardless, you're a proud Canadian player, and we're always going to be following your career. Thanks, Chris.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, man.